morning, everyone. Welcome to the morning news on AET. Today is 2nd March, Monday, 2026. I am Samira Franklin, coming up with the headlines. Helicopter crash. Children's support fund surpasses 10.15 million Ghana cedis. Over 50 students hospitalized after a horror crash in sports tournament. State of Nation address. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei killed in U.S.-Israel strike. Here's in details. Children's Support Fund established to safeguard the welfare and future of children affected by the August 5th helicopter crash has received significant financial contributions from institutions, governments, agencies, and individuals, with total donations now exceeding 10.15 million Ghana cedis and USD 20,000. According to a press statement issued on Sunday, March, first contributions received between October 17, 2025 and February 7, 2026 reflects growing national solidarity aimed at supporting the dependents of victims who lost their lives in a tragic incident. The fund was created as part of efforts to provide long-term assistance, including education, healthcare, and general welfare support for children left vulnerable by the disaster. With support from public and private institutions, the latest disclosure lists a wide range of donors spanning both the public and private sectors. Key contributors include Ghana Reinsurance and Ministry of Tourism, Vital Ghana Services Limited, the Ministry of the Interior, and Cosmos Energy Ghana. Support also came from groups and individuals such as presidential staffers as the Office of the President, Allied Health Professionals, PSC Tema, and several private citizens including Kenneth Nanakwame Brown, Timothy Adair Aduvila, Balanga Kutu, Andrai Apenting, Seth Emmanuel, Francis Dodu, Paddy Ketuku, and Seth Paddy Ologo. Additional donations were recorded from organizations and individuals identified as Stace String and Kenneth Brown, among others. Officials noted that the continued inflow of donations demonstrates a collective national commitment to ensure that children affected by the crash are adequately supported despite the loss of their parents or guardians. Total contributions and staff and fund status. The statement confirmed that the fund has also far received a cumulative total of 10,150,495 Ghana cedis and 20,000 USD dollars, marking a significant milestone in the fundraising effort. Administrators emphasized that the resources will be managed to guarantee sustainable assistance for beneficiaries, with priority placed on education, welfare services, and long-term social protection. Donation channels remained open. Authorities have encouraged individuals, corporate bodies, and philanthropic organizations to continue supporting the initiative. Donations can be made through designers' accounts at Stanbic Bank Ghana Limited, Stanbic Heights branch in Accra. Contributors may pay into the Ghana cedi account or the US dollar account. Checks and bank drafts are to be made payable to Children's Support Fund 6,825, while mobile money payments may also be made through approved digital payment platforms linked to the fund. The day of celebration and supporting wherever has ended in a horrific tragedy in the Karachi East municipality after a vehicle transporting dozens of students from the inter-circuit sport tournament was involved in a violent accident. As of Saturday evening, at least 50 students were battling for their lives in various medical facilities across the Oti region. The accident occurred on the stretch between Takrano and Domabe while the students were returning from the games held at Adokwanta. Witnesses at the scene described a chaotic, heart-wrenching sight as the vehicle, reportedly packed with young athletes, veered off the road. The impact was so severe that students were thrown from the wreck, leaving the local community in a state of shock. Emergency respondents and Good Samaritans worked vertically to pull survivors from the mangled remains. Due to the high number of casualties, the victims had to be spread across multiple jurisdictions to avoid overwhelming a single clinic. The scale of the tragedy has forced a multiple facility medical response. The injured have been distributed based on the severity of their wounds. Rural Government Hospital receiving the most critical cases requiring specialist surgical intervention, the Mabin Health Center, managing dozens of students with fractures and lacerations. Takrano Health Facility, acting as a primary stabilizing point for those with less life-threatening injuries. News of the crash has sent shockwaves through the Karachi East education circuit. Parents who had spent the day cheering for their children at Adokwanta are now flocking to hospital wards in search of information. All official casualty figures are still being clarified. Medical sources at Rural confirm that the number of hospitalized students is nearly 50, with several still in unstable conditions. The accident comes at a time of heightening concern regarding the transportation of students for support events in Ghana. The Embassy of Ghana in Doha has issued a security advisory urging all Ghanaians living in Qatar to seek shelter immediately until further notice following heightening tensions in the region. In an official release issued on February 28, 2026, the embassy cited a missile attack and its impact in Doha as the basis of the alert, advising citizens to rely only on official sources for updates. Due to missile attack and its impact in Doha, please take shelter until further notice. Obtained information from official sources. The notice stated, the embassy further urged Ghanaians to stay away from military sites, remain indoors, avoid crowded areas, and minimize exposures to potential danger. Citizens were also encouraged to keep essential supplies, including medication and food, readily available. Official release from the Embassy of the Republic of Ghana, Doha, Qatar. Security alert advisory for all Ghanaians living in Qatar to take shelter until further notice due to the heightening tension in the region. Notice, due to missile attack and its impact in Doha, please take shelter until further notice. Obtain information from the official sources. We urge everyone to stay away from military sites, remain indoors, avoid crowded areas for any exposure to danger, and keep essential supplies like medication and food. Reach the embassy by emergency hotlines +9744 3644 86 or +974 7013 6281. Email Doha at email MFA Government GH. Location Zone 66, Suite 576, Building 7. Doha. Issued by the Embassy of Ghana, Doha State of Qatar, 28 February 2026. #SONAS 2026. In the last week, we have had to take the painful but necessary decisions to revise the producer price of cocoa to achieve competitive pricing and to resolve the acute liquidity challenge in the sector. President John Mahama on the cocoa sector crisis.
In the last week, we have had to take the painful but necessary decision to revise the producer price of cocoa to achieve competitive pricing and resolve the acute liquidity challenges in the sector. Mr. Speaker, failure to do this as others did and left a debt of 32 billion for this government to pay. Failure to do this would have meant borrowing billions in borrowed funds. Mr. Speaker, this unplanned expenditure would have taken us right back to the very devastating economic problem we have only recently begun to escape. So, Mr. Speaker, while fully understanding the concerns and protests of our farmers, I can firmly assure them that the reforms announced by government will see a total transformation of the cocoa sector. And it will guarantee them a fair and transparent price that enables them to meet the cost of producing the commodity and making decent margins. Mr. Speaker, the difference between economic hardship and avoiding the same is the exercise of sound economic judgment. And I'm determined to take decisions that ensure our collective well-being and avoid the suffering of all our citizens. These are difficult decisions to take.
The passage of 24-hour economy authority bill which has established the regulatory framework and the legal mandates necessary for full implementation, is now set for take-off. President John Dramani Mahama stated.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank this August House. On 6th February 2026, this House passed the 24-hour Economy Authority Bill. This has established the regulatory framework and the legal mandate that was necessary for full implementation. Last week, at the cabinet meeting held, I had the honor of signing this historic legislation into law. All is now set for takeoff. This is the boldest economic transformation initiative in Ghana's recent history. Mr. Speaker, in this year's budget, 110 million has been allocated to begin the setting up and implementation of the 24-hour Economy Authority. These resources will enable businesses to operate beyond traditional business hours. They will attract investment through strategic partnerships with the Development Bank of Ghana and the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, and will strengthen the foundations for sustained growth and job creation, especially for our young people. This is about building prosperity and restoring our people's hope through concrete.
Ghana 2025, the Resetting Ghana agenda is working and gaining momentum. Our nation is on the runway. It is in take-off mood and you are all advised to fasten your seatbelt, President John Dramani Mahama during his State of the Nation address to the Parliament.
When I last came before this House, I spoke candidly about the depth of the challenges we had inherited across all facets of our nation. Mr. Speaker, nowhere was this national malaise more evident than in the economic sector. We inherited an economy in severe crisis, burdened by unsustainable debt, high inflation, a rapidly depreciating currency, and an escalating cost of living crisis that had left our citizens reeling from unimaginable hardship caused by years of general imprudence and reckless management of the economy. Mr. Speaker, I was clear from the outset that recovery would not come easily. But I was also clear that I'll stop at nothing to turn...
I just came to show solidarity. I am not fit yet, but thanks to all Ghanaian people for the love and care. Education Minister Haruna Idrisu made his first public appearance after a terrible road accident and reaffirmed commitment to improving education outcomes.
Done for Thanksgiving and to thank God for a rebirth of my life after that survival of a tragic accident. But for me, what's important is that today you heard President John Dramani Mahama do what he does best, from rhetoric to action. And for me, this State of the Nation address today is evidence-based. It's not one of those State of the Nation for which you are not able to pinpoint what the achievable evidence data is and have been provided. So if you were to ask a number of questions, has there been economic recovery? Yeah, there has been. Inflation is on the decline, debt is on the decline from the unsustainable level. Prosperity and hope is restored only when you spend on areas that spurs growth. So at least on the management of the economy, we are far more better and superior to the Nana Addo Dankwa Kenneth-Ofori-Atta administration. What many Ghanaians should not forget is the long-term damage that Nana Addo Dankwa...
International news. Iran state's media have confirmed the death of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei followed large-scale air strikes reportedly carried out by the United States and Israel. State broadcast Islamic Republic of Iran Broadcasting announced Sunday morning that the supreme leader had reached martyrdom. The state-affiliated Meha News agents described Khamenei as a great scholar and muhajir who sacrificed his life to lift Iran. The strikes, which targeted multiple locations across the Islamic Republic, were described as a part of a broader campaign that U.S. President Donald Trump reported signally was aimed at regime change and would continue throughout the week. Among the site hits was the area near a military base where more than 100 girls at an elementary school were reportedly killed, according to the Iranian sources. The scale and scope of the attack marked one of the most significant escalations in recent regional tensions. In response, Tehran has launched what officials described as unprecedented retaliations. Iran forces has reportedly targeted U.S. military bases, Israel positions, and other strategic sites across the region. A surviving Iran leader vowed to stab American in the heart, signaling the likelihood of sustained hostilities. The conflict has already disrupted oil shipments, damaged major air hubs, and shaken densely populated urban areas. Regional security analysts warn that continued escalation could further destabilize global energy markets and intensify geopolitical divisions. Reactions to Khamenei's death have been sharply divided in Iran. Scenes of mourning have unfolded alongside reports of celebration, reflecting deep internal fractures in the United States. Demonstrators have taken to the streets, with some praising and strikes and others condemning the military actions in its humanitarian toll. The situation remains fluid as both sides signal further operations, raising fears of a prolonged and widening regional confrontation. Iran declared 40 days of national mourning after Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's death. President Donald Trump warned Iran against retaliatory strikes, saying in a social media post that they would remain with strong force from the US if they continue to do so. Iran just stated that they are going to hit very hard today, harder than they have ever hit before, the Trump wrote in a post on Truth Social on Sunday. They better do not do that, however, because if they do, we will hit them with a force that has never been seen before, he added. The US president's latest comment came as Iran launched a fresh wave of strikes across the region and threatened the heaviest offensive in the country's history after the supreme leader's death. On Saturday, Trump indicated that strikes against Iran could continue for several days. Here comes the end of the morning news. I am Samira Franklin. Headline recaps. Helicopter crash. Children's support fund surpasses 10.50 million Ghana cedis. Over 50 students hospitalized after horror crash in support tournament. State of Nation address. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei killed in US-Israel strikes. Thank you. Up next, sports segments. Good morning.
The fundamentals are improving, and the path to sustained acceleration is very clear to everyone. From the outset, we resolved to choose discipline